Hello, it is the Creative Calling Podcast with your host, independent designer and illustrator, Brianna Christine Gibson. This podcast, along with drawing cartoons daily and dancing, are manifestations of following my creative calling, and I'm hoping to inspire you to do the same. Being any type of artist can feel like a selfish pursuit sometimes, but it doesn't have to be. So here I break down how I've learned to take steps to build myself up from the inside so that I can succeed on the outside and propel myself to more success. If you can learn anything from my failures, that would be amazing, and maybe they won't feel entirely in vain. This episode, which will be episode 15, is scheduled for the third Sunday of January, but for me, as of this recording, it is January 2nd. I've been attempting to get ahead of the month so that I can do more with my time later. I have a lot of things that I want to do this year that include making more videos, maybe developing more of my illustration portfolio so that I can get more gigs like that, but I have a long way to go, while still maintaining my momentum with this podcast, my newsletter, and my blog. So yesterday I started to feel a little bit uneasy about the second recording that I made, which was episode 14. I felt like there were just certain parts that were incomplete, and I was thinking about starting over and re-recording, but I thought I might as well just make a new episode. So this is the follow-up, and this is how I'm choosing to fight the resistance, which you can hear more about in my first recording I made yesterday, episode 13. So, in the last episode, I talked about my personal journey of overcoming negative self-talk and the achievements that have come from it. I mentioned how key people in my life, as well as some instructional books, helped me along the way and are still continuing to help me. I realized that I'm a good person, and sometimes I just make bad decisions. But aside from those a few examples and other things, I didn't elaborate on any actionable steps to be more positive. I didn't really go into the details about what I personally changed to cause myself to overcome negative self-talk. So that's what I want to talk about today. 1, recognizing negative self-talk. 2, rewording it. And 3, making it a habit. So number 1, how do you recognize negative self-talk? I'll give you an example from something that used to happen to me all the time while I was practicing drawing. As soon as I would put a line on the page, that's all, just one line, I would say that line doesn't look like anything like what I was trying to draw. Obviously, I can't do this. This is hopeless. I will never be as good as fill in the blank, whoever I was trying to copy that day. And that's another thing I used to think, that I had to be so original. My mind would tell me, if you have to look at a reference to create a picture, that doesn't count as being an artist. So negative self-talk is anything that is destructive or it's keeping you from the task at hand. If I set out to practice drawing, my goal is to learn the muscle memory so that I can draw the lines the way I like. It's not to be perfect at all times. Your inner voice, it doesn't have to be like soft and fluffy, like always telling you, it's okay, your mistakes are okay, you're good, you're always good. No, it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, as I was typing this script out, I'm a poor typist, and as I was typing, I was getting really frustrated. Well, my inner dialogue sounded like this. If you want to type better, you have to keep your fingers on the keys. Stop moving them around so much and trying to type with one hand. You see, that's not really a slam to myself. It's just instructional to remind myself I can get what I want if I take the correct action. So how does someone move from beating him or herself up to becoming positive and instructional with their inner dialogue? This is where number 2, rewording, comes in. Now my inner dialogue when I'm drawing and practicing sounds like this. That line doesn't look right, but good thing I'm here to practice. At least it looks better than yesterday. You see, I can still recognize that I'm not where I want to be. The key is just that I don't let it paralyze me from moving forward. Because if I indulge in that notion that I actually suck, that I don't need to be there, it won't take long before I give up the exercise because it begins to feel pointless and then I never draw, which has happened many, many times. Years that I've given up not drawing for that reason alone. So what you need to do, or what I do, is I remind myself why I was practicing it in the first place. When I remind myself and I still feel like my lines are looking incorrect, I then ask myself non-judgmentally, why do they look off? What action can I take right now to fix it? So when you ask these types of questions, that's when you're becoming instructional and not destructive. If you are already in the habit of talking negatively to yourself, then you'll probably have already said something and then you'll need to go back and reword it. But the important thing to remember is to do it right away and don't forget. And if you're even like me, this might sound a little bit hokey, but once I accept the correction and I say something instructional, sometimes I do a little cheer in my head like, oh, right, awesome. See, Brianna, with the right guidance, you can do anything. I practice cheering myself on because I have a goal in the future that I would like to lead a team of people in my business, and I would like to be able to encourage them as well as my future children. So I know these types of changes take a long time, so I'm practicing doing them now in hopes that that characteristic will just come out of me in the future. So this is where number 3, my last point, comes in, making it a habit. The year 2016 marks the 28th anniversary for Nike's slogan, "Just Do It." This slogan became so popular because it's so simple and it applies to just about anything. If I know what to do, in this case, practicing positive self-talk, if I know how to do it, I reword my unhelpful comments to myself and replace them with helpful comments, then the only thing left to do is do it. And that's where I leave you today. To find the links to this episode, please go to creativecallingpodcast.com. To keep up with everything that I'm doing, you can find me on facebook.com/Brianna Christine Designs. And you can find new episodes of the Creative Calling Podcast every Sunday here on SoundCloud. To get awesome 15-second little sound bites from this episode and past episodes, along with fun animations and illustrations by yours truly, head over to Instagram at creative.calling. And until next time.